T20 cricket is great, especially when the pitch offers a little bit for the bowlers and makes it an even contest between bat and ball. That's exactly what we got to see in the first match between Gujarat Titans and Punjab Kings. So not only was it a tight contest, it wasn't really a tight contest, it wasn't a high scoring game. When you have people who are just smashing the ball left, right, and center every single time, it really gets kind of dreary to watch it. It's not so exciting. Today's match was the perfect balance between skilled batting, skilled bowling, and a match tempo that kind of ebbed and flowed, and you never knew which team was on top and which team was doing well. So let's start off first by analyzing the batting of Gujarat Titans. Gujarat got off to a good start actually, and they were close to 10 runs and over. Shubman Gill, I felt he wasn't quite at his best. He was, there was those scratchy moments, even as I scratch myself. There was those scratchy moments where he kind of was feeling for the ball and, his trademark shot, dab shot that he kind of semi pulls, semi hooks kind of thing, it was there, but just that the fluency wasn't quite there. There wasn't that trademark cover drive. There wasn't that touch play that you're usually used to seeing Gill play. Sai Sudarshan, yes, he did have a shot or two, I guess, but Rabada and the pace of Rabada was just too much for him. And then actually, I thought was a really good phase post the first wicket for GT, wherein both batters were truly able to take advantage of the power play and put the PBKS bowlers under proper pressure. Then, somewhere along the line, the PBKS bowlers discovered something called the slower ball. So I guess the pitch up front was a little bit of a two-paced pitch. It was kind of dry, and the ball was kind of sticking onto the pitch a lot more. Towards the later half of the match in the second innings, there was actually a lot of steady drizzle, and so it ended up actually favoring the batting side because that stoppage wasn't quite there and the slower balls wasn't quite effective. But GT never really kind of ran away with it. They had performers here and there, but they just weren't able to run away with the game. And you should credit the Shreyas Iyer over there and Ricky Ponting definitely. There is a lot of thought into field placement, what goes where, for which player, what are the matchups, and one of probably India's best T20 spinners, Yuzvendra Chahal. He's one guy that I'm genuinely happy for to do well. I mean, with all the stuff that was happening, whatever off the field, forget that. On the field, I always feel he never gets his due credit. And today, when GT was kind of slightly running away with the game, his overs were the biggest difference between the two sides. And I think he had 4 overs and 3 wickets, something of that sort, for not many runs. Very few runs, in fact. And it was the manner in which he got people out. It was this teasing, looping kind of a ball. I remember he got hit for a six, and the same over, he again went for the same kind of ball. This time even slower, this time even wider, making the batsman reach out for it. And it was just so nice to see a spinner bowl with so much of confidence and bowl by being so daring. If you want to hit me, but I am going to prize out your wicket. That seems to be his motto every single time. I wish Kuldeep also kind of took a little bit of notes from this. I always felt that when they both bowled together, both were fantastic, and Dhoni was the kind of captain who really knew how to use them both together. Kulcha, as they were called, Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal. But I feel Kuldeep, unlike Chahal, always rushes through his deliveries, doesn't flight the ball as much. He is a finger spinner, so you would imagine that he'd actually spin the ball more. So Chahal has that confidence, which is so vital in the way he bowls. I think the other really commendable thing that you have to say in the whole PBKS bowling effort and the GT batting effort, of course, is the captaincy of Shreyas Iyer. Such a shrewd captain. Your best bowler, Mako Jansen, your best bowlers, the moment a wicket fell, there was always, trying to bring back your better bowlers, because you didn't want to let the game drift. You wanted to be in control of the game, and that's exactly what he did. It's very hard to to you know to ride the momentum of a game, especially in T20 cricket, let alone control it. And that's what I felt Shreyas Iyer did very well. So you have to credit him for that. I always felt he was a very good captain, and let's be honest, he would not be the kind of captain he is without the inputs from a great coaching staff. And Ricky Ponting, you would expect, would give that kind of a input. And so there was something that was very visible and very tangible in the field placements, in the way in which they were bowling, in the way in which they were taking off the pace. So some really good bowling display over there, with lots of thought behind it, a lot of skill behind the execution over there. And I think we need to also talk about a little bit about the GT batting over here, or I'd more like to say the lack of batting over here. Washington Sundar, I always felt, was a good batter, don't get me wrong, but he just doesn't have the power game. And when you come up, in that situation, you want to have your power game, so you want to be able to have someone who can bring you those sixes and stuff. So I don't know if Washi is really the right kind of player to come in so deep down into the innings. When you have a player like Tevatia, why would you want to restrict him only till the 18th over? You know that your scoring is not going good. You know that you're struggling. Why don't you send him in with 4 5 overs left? I feel that they just wasted that opportunity over there. Like, sure, Washi is a good batter, don't get me wrong, but is he a good batter for that particular, instance where you have 5 or 6 overs and you really need to make something work? I think the answer there is a clear no. And the other thing is, there was a part of the ground that was the long part of the ground, and there was a part of the ground that was the short part of the ground. And it was very obvious that the Punjab bowlers were kind of targeting and making you hit to the long part of the ground. And I just felt it was, there was just nothing over there to kind of shift that narrative a bit. And when you look at the batting lineup of Gujarat also, right up front, you have Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill, both of whom are touch players. You have Joss Butler, who was back in the day an absolute like beast in T20 cricket, but now is like a minnow, is like a sparrow, trying to find his feet. Even though he has these innings of 25, 30, and I think today he scored something like 35 or 40 or something, he's just not in control. You have that feeling that timing has deserted him, that kind of shots has deserted him, and he's kind of trying really hard to be there, but it's just not there. Glenn Phillips, I'm not sure. You'd think that he is definitely the kind of player that you want towards the back end of an innings to really bash the ball, but he did. I think he did get a very very good ball actually by. Let's mention this guy. I mean, I know we are talking about the GT bowling, but let's mention this guy a little bit right now. Vaishak. Wow. Um, Vijay Kumar Vaishak, if I'm not wrong. And did he bowl well? I think it was 3 wickets that he got, and full of slower balls, back of the hand balls, the ball held deep within the hand, change of pace, speed balls. I mean, it was an amazing display of T20 bowling, and to come from, apparently in the Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament also, he bowled very well and took a lot of wickets and stuff. I followed that in the match, didn't really follow the actual trophy tournament, but I think it was very obvious that when a team has a good bowling lineup, especially from the Indian players, remember, because in IPL you can have only 4 overseas players, and your major part is your weakest link actually is the Indian players, the Ranji Trophy players. And when your Ranji Trophy players are good quality, then your standard automatically improves. And that is where Gujarat Titans, I feel, kind of missed a trick or two because Shah Rukh Khan, mm, yes, I think he was good, but I'm not sure if he is still good right now, and that's where PBKS kind of did well. I think one place where PBKS really needs to work on is Arshdeep Singh's death bowling. Go for the Yorkers, man. Go for the wide Yorkers too. But there's two lines there. Keep it within the lines. It was kind of ridiculous to see the number of wides and no balls that Arshdeep gave. I think he alone contributed to more than 10 extras, which is like absolutely crazy. And talking about the Punjab Kings batting, all eyes, yes, at least me, I was looking forward to Shreyas Iyer bat. But even before he came on, you got to say that Simran Singh, wow. I mean, I always felt, he was kind of a character. And invariably, wicket keepers are these pugnacious, lively characters that just kind of want to go there and bash the ball and make a statement. The only wicketkeeper I feel who really wasn't that type was like a Vridhiman Saha. And by the way, Vridhiman Saha also was a fantastic T20 player, especially IPL player. Prabhsaran Singh matched Cooper Conley, shot to shot, and they were pretty much at the same strike rate. And when he and Cooper Conley were going, you felt that the match was going to get over in 12 or 13 overs, to be honest. So him getting out to Rashid Khan, by the way, big disappointment. I really didn't feel, he really lived up to his billing. It was it's almost like he's bowling as though he's a medium pace bowler. It almost doesn't feel like he's spinning the ball much or he's paying really much attention to line or length. It always seems to be, I'm going to pitch it in, I'm going to have it slide in, and I'm going to have there's no deception in flight because there's no flight over there. It's just hurrying on to the batsman. Now, this is, I know I'm talking about one of the all time greatest legends of T20 cricket worldwide. Don't get me wrong. I know that. But very, very non impressive first IPL game of 2026 Rashid Khan had. I think once, you figure out that he is going to air short and he's going to use that fast slider towards you, I think batsmen will just pick him off, and that's just a matter of time. Coming down the wicket and using your feet might not be the best option with Rashid Khan, as Prab Simran discovered, I guess, because you just don't get the elevation, but just kind of staying back and playing off your back foot. And, you know, Cooper Conley was pretty much able to dispatch him over the. There was one crazy shot that he kind of hit into the second tier and stuff. So Shreyas Iyer, the moment he came in, Gujarat Titans skipper and India ODI skipper and Shreyas Iyer's good friend Shubman Gill, of course, brought on a pace bowler, Ashok, who actually bowled very well, huh? With nice, fast rhythm and stuff, and he kind of made him ball short into Shreyas Iyer's face, if you may. And Shreyas Iyer now no longer ducks for the short ball. He no longer tries to defend it. The only thing he can do is attack it. So if you bowl too fast, if you bowl two bounces, he's going to hit both bounces for six. If you bowl three bounces, he's going to hit all three bounces for six. If you bowl enough bounces, he will get out to a bouncer, but he will get out going for a six. So that seems to be the attitude of Shreyas Iyer. I was really disappointed by the way he got out. It seemed to be like a nothing shot. Prasidh Krishna comes on to ball in the 13th over, the 14th over, balls a total half volley laddu onto the stumps. And this guy manages to find the only fielder pretty much on the square leg boundary. So that's kind of unfortunate way to go for Shreyas Iyer. But after that, kind of started a floodgate where Prasidh Krishna kind of rediscovered that mojo that, which he had back in England when India was winning that test match and Siraj was doing Siraj things. But nonetheless, Prasidh Krishna coming on to bowl in the 14th over or 13th over. Can someone please explain to me what's going on over there? Why was Prasidh Krishna coming on to bowl so late and why was he bowling 4 overs on the trot? It's but obvious that by the fourth over he'll become, tired and not as effective. And when that fourth over happens to be the 19th over and you're defending 16 and you happen to give away 14 runs, you really got to curse the captain, not the bowler, right? So if you're going to be bowling the crunch overs like that, you need to have a little bit of gap and a rest. So really, really bad, horrible captaincy there by GT, especially since he was the impact sub and you knew you had him or you wanted to have him in your plans. There was no reason why you had to wait so late to bring him on. Especially when you're chasing and it's a small total, you want wickets up front. So why would you want to bowl a very inexperienced bowler like Ashok Sharma when you have an international star like Prasidh Krishna? Am I going too far by calling him an international star? No, but he is an international India player. So I mean, he's a lot more experienced than Ashok Sharma, and that showed. The other thing which I cannot understand for the life of me is I know he went for a few sixes when he did bowl, but are you suggesting to me that you're going to go through 20 overs with probably the world's number one bowler with you and not use his full quota? I'm talking about Kagiso Rabada. How in the world did GT go through the entire 4 over stretch and not use entire 20 over stretch and not use the 4 overs of Kagiso Rabada? What's going on? Shubman Gill needs to really think about the kind of captaincy he's doing. And yeah, I don't know what to say. Washington Sundar, big, big, big disappointment. What's going on? I mean, even when the batting also, he seemed to be more intent on like getting some shapes with his positions and stuff, but not so much with the bat. And no, I mean, you're such a good batter, you're such a good timer of the ball. You don't have to play shots, behind the wicket all the time. Play shots in front of the wicket. You're such a fantastic, talented batsman, and you're such a good bowler. Almost all the balls that Washi was bowling was only meant at containing. I don't know if there was a single wicket taking plan in those bowls. They were all either wide so that he doesn't get hit or getting hurried onto the legs so that he goes for a single or a two. I know it's important to give away a single or a two, but as a spinner, your lead, I mean, it's almost like as a spinner, you have to take wickets. When spinners take wickets, teams win. Take PBKS in the same match. You had Yuzi Chahal. What did he do? He went for the kill. He went for the wickets. Versus Washi is just going to basically, save himself. And you did have Glenn Phillips also. That was also an option, right? And Mohammad Siraj, you're going to use him only for 2 overs? Mia, are you serious? So you've not used Mohammad Siraj's 2 overs. You've not used Kagiso Rabada's 1 over. And you've brought in Prasidh Krishna, ultimately turned out to be your best bowler at the 13th over. There's really not much wrong you can do beyond this as a captain or as a coaching staff when it comes to allocating your bowling resources. Let's just be absolutely blunt over here. So I know they tried to claw their way back, and there were a few catches that happened, and a few wickets that fell, courtesy Prasidh Krishna and others. But you have to say that ultimately, on this day, the better team definitely won. You had to have PBKS win, especially for the kind of bowling performance they put in, more than the batting performance. And Cooper Conley, of course, taking their side home. How can we not talk about him? Young kid playing his first IPL match, showed immense maturity, not stockily built at all. It doesn't really depend. And that those kind of guys, you'd think that that they depend on their timing and stuff. No, this guy is the opposite. He goes for the power shots, but the power doesn't come from his frame or anything. The power comes from the bat speed he's able to generate, and he can hit a long ball. Let me put it that way. Um, I don't recollect seeing him play for Australia before. I know I've heard the name 2, 3 times, but I don't recollect a match or a performance where that kind of stands out. But that shot he hit of Rashid Khan, man, that went. It's probably got to be one of the longest sixes that is going to be hit for a long time. And for him to be able to stay cool, stay calm, even as wickets were falling all around him, and take his team to a winning total. I mean, that really is a lot of maturity for a kid that age. And final word of appreciation, that new Chandigarh stadium. Wow. I mean, I know India is doing well, and I know BCCI is the bomb in the cricketing circles, but the kind of stadiums that are coming up nowadays are just fantastic. And this stadium, I mean, wow. And especially with that red lighting that we had, that kind of went along with the Punjab Kings, jersey and everything, the team light, the team colors, if you may. Brilliant, brilliant stadium, brilliant atmosphere, sold out crowd. I mean, this is the IPL, and it's a celebration. It's a celebration of cricket. It's a celebration of India, and it's a celebration that of a true cricket festival.